This was so close to being a good chapter. And what I mean by that, I'll get to in a second, but first off, I gotta give full credit to Nakaba that big color double spread opening was just looked great. Really like the uses of colors in there. It just looks delightful. But beyond that, get to the chapter itself. And what the issue I'm having right now with the series is it feels like, given from the last chapter, like a fan fiction. It feels like somebody didn't like the ending of the series, so they're like, I'm gonna try and do a cooler one, but at the cost of logical writing within the story. Because now, I brought up things like recently of, well, why aren't these things happening? It looks like some of those are in fact happening. It was me jumping the gun a little. But the issue with that, if instead of it being like, okay, I was just like thinking, hot-headed, it actually kind of went down like I wanted, but it done in such a way that it doesn't make any logical sense for the characters. So they're all discussing like, oh man, the Demon King is still alive. I wonder he's out there. I wonder who's got his body. It's like, he has two sons. Pick out one of them, and where do you think the other one would go? That it's just the characters being dumber than they should be purely for like plot reasons. And Merlin is absolutely first off, actually, well, I guess second off, rather. I like the Demon King Zeldris design. I think he looks cool with the armor on and the side cape like that. And I mean, I'm just noticing now it's kind of like the way that the OC in my videos is dressed, just at least like with the cape only on one side, but it looks really awesome. And he's just like kind of testing his powers, and he like crushes this this hill and the home on top of it, and just kind of like compresses it into this big ball. And the Demon King is like, oh well, these powers not that bad. I'll be able to get a hold of things, but what exactly do I need to, what exactly am I going to need to do to fight the Seven Deadly Sins? The Ten Commandments couldn't do anything. So what can I do in order to get some competition for him? And I got really confused for a second because the official translations, whoever put it out, misspelled match, and they put mock. Don't know why they did that, but just a small error. But what I mean by like, not only characters not understanding like, oh, it's Zeldris. Who's the one other logical person that would be the Demon King right now? But I mean, like, the idea that the characters are being this dumb and not thinking about that, but then you get to this point and they're like, hey, Merlin, I know you're like thousands of years old, super smart. You're like this strategist and planner, but now that there's the Demon King running around, can you close the portal to go to Purgatory? And she's like, oh no, it's closing right now, but it's not that big. Only a person can go through. And I'm just thinking, okay, you have this guy who, for millions of years, has ruled over this dimension, this hellish world, right? Millions of years in his time. And within that span of time, he comes in, you guys think he's dead, and then, oh, no, he's actually still here. And this was while they were still at the portal. And the first thing that they didn't do after that is say, we need to close this portal. If he's still out there, a portal to pretty much where he rules shouldn't be open. And they're like, oh, just worry about it. Whatever, we'll get to it. So he just walks up there, nobody's there, and just the Demon King just kind of like opens up widens up the portal to Purgatory and calls some of the Endura forth. And the design of those arms coming out, those are very like kind of mantis-like. If he gives us a really cool bug Endura, I'll be happy. I'll give him some points for that. Because not seeing the Enduras was really a complaint I had about the other arcs, but, it looks like we're going to be finally getting them this last stretch. It's probably going to be like a group of Endura, and, all the characters, like, their group fights. It's not them versus some intricate bad guy. It's them versus, a rampaging monster. And Meliodas against the Demon King. But when they're all discussing, like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're all going to spread out and go after these Endura, and we'll take them out, and the Demon King and Meliodas, you stay here and guard Elizabeth. And I get the idea that Elizabeth needs to be protected because of the whole thing going on with her. But if you have to defeat these guys, like literally the Demon King is out there, all you have to do is defeat him, and then bam, it's over. And Meliodas has the power of the Demon King. He's the same kind of level of strength. So they're going to be like, okay, you stay here and guard her. We'll go try and defeat that guy. Why? Why not go directly for the Demon King? Have someone like Merlin who could literally just pop a perfect cube around her and Elizabeth and just chill. She could just do that, and no other reason for them to have to worry about stuff and do all these other utility spells, all these other abilities that she has that she can keep indefinitely up. And they're gonna go fight the Demon King. Why? Like, the logic in that just doesn't make any sense. If you have a bunch of guys and you're like, you have all these guys around that we either have to go defeat them one by one, or we just go defeat their boss, the guy controlling. Because if you take them out, then Meliodas should have the ability to control them, and if not, he should still have not that much of an issue fighting them. It's way worse because if you take out the Demon King, you can take out the possibility of Elizabeth's curse killing her entirely. But no, they're like, okay, stay behind. And it's extremely ridiculous because why would you keep your best offensive piece guarding someone and leave to make your utility character who's not that powerful go out? Like, she has obviously infinite magic, but it doesn't mean she's gonna be able to beat the Demon King with it. He can just swat her down. But it just kind of like keeps rolling over into this idea that why does this keep working? What's going on with these characters that they're able to pretty much accomplish the exact convenient thing to them while disregarding any idea of how it is? You know, it's like if a dude's like, you were gonna go fight Superman. It's like, okay, he's weak to kryptonite, and we have this kryptonite here, but let's go just fight him. And then somehow when they're getting their asses kicked, they're like, oh yeah, I remembered, there's a mine over there of kryptonite, let's go get him. And it's gonna run like that. It's gonna end the fight, I mean, like that kind of, you have the means of how to defeat him already. You use Gaunther otherwise to hack into whoever the Demon King's like vessel is, and then you have people fighting him on a mental plane as well as the physical plane. So then, why aren't they doing that? They already have the solution of how to defeat him and drive him out of his body. Like, he's clearly strong enough, and then they could also, you know, unite all their strengths at once to beat him. But they don't, and it's really silly. The only person in all this that seemed logical was Elizabeth. At least she had that aspect to her when all the other characters left. And she's like, oh, Meliodas, you know it was Zeldris. Why don't you tell them? And they're just like, oh, they don't need to know that this is on me. This is a family issue. And Elizabeth's like, oh, well, you should go take care of him. And so you're always on my side. I'll just go with you. And she's just like, no, I still have some stuff I can do. I'm not just going to sit here and you don't need to just mull around and not be fighting. Let's just go do it, and then, hopefully the rest is resolved. And I thought that was kind of a silly aspect. I was actually looking at like that panel where it shows the castle for the Demon King. I wonder if that's the one in the 2 chapters ago when they discussed the Endura, and there was like a little castle on a hill. It kind of looks like the same shape, but them leaving and teaming up together, and obviously kind of heightening a little bit of the fact that this series is also kind of supposed to be like a romance bit between Meliodas and Elizabeth. So there's that. And I actually really like the way that Meliodas' wings, like how big they are in comparison, like trailing far behind him. I will give it that. That was really cool. You had this nice scene of them flying and having a good talk about being together and what brought them together. And now they're going to go save Zeldris. And it's just kind of a weird surprise. Like, I wish at this point instead it was them fighting, like I said, like, Maelstrom Rosa continuously getting commandments and then ends up stealing, like, the Supreme Goddess and the Demon King's powers into one. And it was them teaming up to fight one guy who's, like, the merging of their 2 clans. But now they're just going to go beat up a guy that they already beat and know how to beat him. So it's not that climactic. It's I guess an easier way to really summarize it. It's if you're playing a video game and they put the same boss on 2 different levels. You put one, you beat one, you go to another level. On that level, it's the same boss, potentially weaker, and has the same weaknesses. So it's like, okay, I already know what to do. I mean, they could hopefully progress the Demon King. Maybe he'll end up draining a bunch of power from the Endura and becoming a sick badass monstrosity, like a goddamn kaiju from Godzilla. But I don't know. I just think the fact that it feels like these characters aren't thinking. They're not thinking of very obvious things going on with the story. Like, if none of the Demon Kings are still out there within the realm, he's got a new body, regardless if you know who is, why are you going to leave the portal open? Why are you going to leave the area literally with the portal open? So he just comes in and opens this, bam, and Endura. Because we don't know if he can open it by himself or he can manipulate the portal, but who knows if he can open it. So as long as like Merlin just closed it, maybe he wouldn't have these Endura, because these are another thing that they have to deal with. But really, when you think about it, it's going to be really weird when you have people already at like Demon King level, like not directly on Beef, Meliodas, Bon, probably King, to be perfectly honest. Merlin is going to pull out some bullshit combo and be able to do it, and then just like, she's literally like reading the script and be like, oh yeah, just put it in my Wikipedia, I did it this way, and it's just, I can't stand Merlin's presence. But how are they going to be that much of a threat when you already had him like trash all these other characters? Like there, and they have the other guys like Maelstorosa and however the pronounce his name, other guy, because literally Maelstorosa with Sunshine literally like just flexed on the original demon, and so what exactly is preventing the Endura to even like having half that level of strength? It just feels silly if you have the original demon and he's nothing to an Endura. I feel like he should be maybe around that level, but if you have a guy who can literally one-shot people at that level, what threat is in Endura? In comparison to now, it should have been way earlier before these characters got all these huge boosts. And then they fight the Demon King, and he comes forth with either, like, any other bodies. It would have been kind of cooler for him to come through males and then have, you know, the Demon King with male's body. So that's maybe how he becomes, like, a fallen angel. You know, there's a lot of cooler ideas, but either they're just going to skip over them, or they're going to go for some of the cool ones and just ignore how the characters get to them. But anyway, I'm rambling on. Tell me in the comment section below what you thought about this. Again, it's like, it's got a better hold of like trying to at least keep the story interesting, but it's doing it in a way that makes all these characters look like morons. You have all these big brain thinkers in the room be like, hey, should we close the portal to hell? No. It will leave it open. It's literally you have a villain out there with a bucket of gasoline. He's like, I'm gonna throw this into the fire and set this whole forest on fire. And they're just like, oh, he's around here somewhere, but let's just let it burn out. Let's go home. And what a surprise when they hear, you know, forest fire has happened. Suspect threw a bucket of gasoline onto it. That's pretty much how it's going. And anyway, leave a comment below, like I said, thumbs up the video, but friend the like button and the subscribe button, and check out my other videos. Rather than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.